What's up, fellas? Welcome to another video. Today is a special day because I am wearing my second favorite shirt, Giraffe with Sunglasses. Today, I'm going to be reviewing a book called Solo Leveling. They're making a show out of it soon, so I thought now would be a pretty good time to review it. There's going to be spoilers in this video. I like to give just enough to get somebody hooked, so I'm going to be telling just about how the story starts. But basically, imagine like a modern day world if it also had fantasy in it. Like there's still skyscrapers and new technology and stuff, but randomly in the past 20 years, gates have started appearing with monsters in them, and people had to go and kill the monsters. And when the gates started showing up, people also started awakening as more powerful people. The main character of Solo Leveling, his name is Jinwoo. This is translated from Korean, by the way, I'm pretty sure. And he's super weak. He awakened, but he's like the lowest class of awakened person there is. And one day he goes into a dungeon with a group of people, and they find another dungeon inside of that dungeon. And when they go inside of it, it's this massive room with this huge Abraham Lincoln memorial-sized, maybe even bigger, statue of this king sitting on a throne. And there's this plaque next to him that they're translating from like Latin or something. That's showing all these rules of the court. And then whenever they just decide to leave because there's nothing in there, suddenly he gets the instinct to just tell everyone to duck. And they duck. Half of them do, and the other half gets their entire bodies disintegrated by lasers from the giant statue's eyes. So and they read the rules of the court, and the rules of the court were like bow to him, and then it was stuff like bow to him, and then play the music and something like that. So after that, the next trial starts, and there are these statues all around the room. Some of them are warrior statues, most of them are warrior statues, but some of them have instruments. And everyone's trying to get to an instrument, and Jinwoo's the last one left, and there's no statue with an instrument left. And he's running away from the big king statue because it keeps trying to stomp on him. And if you go near a statue that's not one with an instrument, it'll try to kill you. So he thinks he sees one holding a harp, so he runs up to it, but it was actually just one with a shield, so it shield bashes his leg off, and he's just with one leg, and he's crawling to the next statue because he sees it holding a book, and he thinks it might be something considered an instrument, because at least it's not a weapon. And it turns out it's a book of hymns, and the statue starts singing. And some other people died during that trial, and they're down to like the last 5. And then the doors, and then this big sort of altar comes up, and a bunch of blue torches are lit all around the altar. So they're climbing up to the altar, and a pink torch lights up for every person that stands on the altar. And once everyone's on the altar, the doors to the second dungeon just swing open. And one of the 5 decides that they're just gonna risk it. So they sprint towards the door and they make it out. But after they get off the altar, the door closes a little bit. And so they're all standing on this altar, and Jinwoo's trying to convince everyone that maybe if they just did what the rules were, then they'd be able to get out of there alive. But not everyone's very convinced. And there's only 4 people left. One of them is this guy that hates Jinwoo, the leader, the healer, and Jinwoo. Jinwoo only has 1 leg left. This other guy the main leader guy lost his arm with the first trial with the lasers. The healer is not very strong physically, and then there's the guy that hates him. So the guy that hates him is just like, I don't know if I'm gonna risk this. So he just runs out, and then the door closes a little bit more. And have you ever seen that episode of Doctor Who with the Weeping Angels? Because if you haven't, these statues are slowly closing into the altar, and you have to look at them to make them not move. So they're all trying to stand back to back, but they have to hold Jinwoo up because he's missing a leg. And they don't have anyone that's strong enough to hold him up anymore, because the other guy lost his arm, and the healer lady is really weak, so they can't hold him up, and he's just like, just go. I'll die, and you guys can go. Maybe I can do it by myself, and I can hold them on long enough. Because I forgot to mention, for however long they stood there, the blue lanterns that I mentioned earlier, they were slowly going out over time. So he calculated that they'd have to be there around like 30 minutes, but he couldn't get everyone to stay long enough. So after everyone leaves and all of the stone soldiers are rushing up there because he's just lying on his back because he's bleeding to death because he got his leg chopped off earlier. And right whenever one of the stone soldiers' swords is about to swing right on his head, it stops right there. And he's saved by some sort of divine being that's deemed him worthy of their blessing. And the next thing he knows, he wakes up in a hospital bed, and these government officials are questioning him. And that's how the book basically starts. He gets the ability to get stronger over time, and that's why it's called solo leveling, because he's leveling by himself. I don't really like most of the titles of these foreign books. I think they're kind of on the nose too much, but solo leveling is really good. I've read all the volumes that are out right now, and I'm pretty sure it goes up to 7. The 8th one's coming out soon. I've read all of them. The plot gets really, really good. I recommend solo leveling to anyone who likes fantasy books. Now, I mostly do comic book reviews. This is not a comic book. It's a regular book. And yeah, that's my solo leveling review. See ya.